Thank you. Got it.
Yep.
So we will get started. We have Ms. Cheryl Tillman. She is our contact at ANOVA. ANOVA is our EAP or Employee Assistance Provider. I'm going to ask that everyone hold questions until the end, and please mute yourself until Cheryl is done with her presentation, and we'll have plenty of time for questions. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can get started with the presentation. All right, Cheryl, whenever you are ready.
All right, thank you so much, Jamie. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Cheryl Tillman, and I'm an account manager with ANOVA EAP. And I'm really pleased to be with you all this afternoon to share information with you on the wonderful services that ANOVA EAP has that you and your household members can take advantage of. So let's go ahead and get started. Next slide, please. Now, some of you may have been with Prince George's County Public Schools for a while, so you may know what an EAP is, but if you're new to the school system, let me just share information with you about what an EAP is. It's very, very important. And for those of you who have been with the school system for a while, it's always good to hear it again and get that reminder of the services so that you can just refresh yourself and reach out and call if you need to. Now, to start off, which I think is one of the most important things, our service is confidential and private, which is very, very important, meaning that when you call in, no one's going to know that you called, and it's confidential what you talk about with the counselors or anyone else that you speak to at our 800 call center. You will be able to have a confidential conversation with them. Now, it's confidential, but it's not anonymous, meaning that we will need to know your name, and the name of the company that you work for, which is Prince George's County Public Schools. And we do so also ask for your address and phone number and some other contact information like an email in the event that we want to send something to you. So I think it's very, very important that we provide that information and that you provide that so we can make a good match for whatever services that you're looking for. So the next thing, the next slide, please, Jamie. Okay, thank you. Now we have, step back to the slide number 2. Thank you. It's also important to know that we have licensed professional counselors. Anyone who answers the phone at our 24-hour call center has a minimum of a master's degree in some type of area of counseling so that they can assist you right away. We don't have to go look for people for you to talk to, put you on hold, that type of thing. Whoever you speak to is ready and available and able to assist you with whatever you're looking for. We focus on work concerns, family concerns, all types of things. As you'll see through the presentation, we have a whole list of services that we provide. ANOVA is a holistic EAP that covers pretty much your whole entire life as far as things that you might need. We try to think of everything that you could possibly need, and we try to provide that. We're available 24 hours, 7 days a week. And it's a call center that you would call in. It's prepaid by your employer, which means that you don't have to, have any money, or we don't ask for any insurance cards. The only identification we require is that you are a Prince George's County Public School employee, and same thing for your household member, which they can use the service as well. They would just have to be associated with you in some way. So they would say, my mother works for the school system, my sister, my brother. We take people at their word when they call in. We don't grill you and say, does your mother really work there? Are you sure about that? We take people on the honor system. If you say that you work there, or if your child is calling in, or your sister or someone in your household, and they say that they are related to you, that's all the information that we need. And then we're able to go ahead and assist them with whatever they're looking for. It's very easy. It's very free flowing. We try not to make it difficult, because we realize sometimes if they've never called, we want to make it simple, because you may be anxious enough and not sure what to expect. And I hope that the presentation today will at least help the people on the call today to understand what to expect when they call in, and have a good understanding of all the services that we have. Next slide, please. Now let's look at the EAP benefits. It's broken down into 3 benefits. Short-term counseling, work-life information, and if you see the list of information and services listed there, we're going to talk about those things. And also our website. We have a wonderful, robust website that you can spend hours and hours just looking at content and information. So all of these things, which I think make it a holistic product because we have so much included in all these things that you can, like I said, spend hours just looking or maybe talking to someone on the phone, trying to find resources. So we want you to know that it's available and that it's user friendly, and we want you to call. Next slide, please. Let's look at the short-term counseling, which we're going to start with. Now, when you call in, remember I said that someone answers the phone that has a minimum of a master's degree, and of course it's 24 hours. But what we can do is that we do an assessment over the phone with you. Say you are calling in for counseling, which we encourage you to do if that is your concern. We don't, turn anyone away. And what you will get is an assessment with a counselor, maybe 15, 20 minutes. They're going to ask you a few questions about what's going on. Now, these counselors that you talk to over the phone are not going to be the counselors that you see face to face or virtual, because we do offer both. We still offer virtual sessions for people who are maybe not quite comfortable going to someone's office. And we also have counselors now that are ready to see you in person. So you just have to let the counselor know on the phone. Now, the counselor that you're speaking to is not going to be the one that you're going to see, but they are going to need just a little bit of information about what's going on so that they can make a good match. That's the whole purpose of that. We want to have enough information to get you to the right person, whether it's a male or female counselor, whether it's for marital counseling or grief or depression, whatever it might be, anxiety, problems at work. So because all of our counselors have different specialty areas. So we want to make sure that we get you to the person who has the right degree and expertise in the area that you're calling about. So I think that's very, very important and also for you to realize that, it's not a full assessment, but just enough to make a good match. Now, what we will do when you and the counselor have finished with the assessment, we will call the counselors in your area, driven by your zip code or whatever address that you give us. We will call them to make sure that they have availability before we give you the information. I know a lot of EAPs work a little bit differently. They may give you just 3 names to call, and good luck with that. Just call and see who's available. But ANOVA works a little bit differently. We will call the person for you, the counselors, and see if they have some time within a week or a few days to see you, and then we will give you that information. So that's why it's a 2-day business turnaround. Which I think that's very, very important because, I can imagine it would be frustrating to anyone if you were to get 3 names and you call and none of the counselors can see you within, a month. And that's not what we want. So we take that part on ourselves to make sure that, we have someone that we can give you that can see you in a short amount of time. Now, you're free to take whatever appointment you wish. If you don't want to be seen in the next 2 weeks, that's fine. Or if you want to be seen in the next few days, that's fine. But we want to make sure that if you do want that, we have someone who can provide that. So that's the whole purpose of that. So I think that makes us stand out from a lot of other EAPs. Now, what you will be able to get is up to 4 sessions per issue. And our counseling is what we call solution focused, meaning that it focuses on behavioral changes that you can make in a short amount of time. And it's up to 4 sessions because per issue, what that means is that you can get up to 4 sessions with a counselor in your area, your zip code area on, stress, or grief or anxiety. You can come in as many times as you need, as long as you're calling about a different issue. So this time around is 4 sessions for, grief. Maybe your grandmother passed away and you're really upset about that. Then a few months down the road, you want to come back because your child is struggling in school. They've been home doing virtual learning, they're back and they're struggling with that. So you might want to have them come in for that. So that's very, very important to do. And it's not driven by a calendar year. It's not driven by anything except that you get 4 sessions per issue. And we like you to finish out those 4 sessions before you start with something else. So basically what I'm saying is that you can come in many, many times throughout the year. There's no limit on the number of times. And when you're listening to the services that I'm talking about, think about it for your family members as well and household members, because you can go back and share this information with them so they will have an understanding and get the same thing that you do. So it's important, you look at it sort of twofold in that respect. So I think that's very important because we realize that, 12 months in a year is a long time. And if you're only able to come in 1 time a year, that's not really helping you. You're okay for the first 4 months. And now now something else has happened and oh my gosh, well, I can't call back because I've used my 4 sessions. No, that is not the case with Inova EAP. Please feel free to call back. And we encourage people to call back for counseling because, the world we live in now, we need help. We all need some type of counseling or someone to talk to every now and then. And we encourage you to do that. And just a side note too, which I'm going to mention, it's not listed here on the slide, but we also offer what we call in the moment support. Now, in the moment support, we've always had that at Inova for ever since I've been there, and I've been there since 2014. But it became more popular during COVID, where individuals can call up and just speak to someone over the phone without making an appointment. That's why we call it in the moment. So, you're having a bad day, or maybe you like during the pandemic, you were home isolated and things weren't going right, and you needed to talk to someone right away. You can call Inova and speak to one of the counselors at the call center that do the assessment. They're able to talk with you and have like a session with you to kind of help you figure out what's going on in the moment and what you can do that day. Now, the interesting thing is that, and keep this in mind, that appointment does not go towards your 4 visits because it doesn't count as that. That's in the moment support, which is separate. You got some bad news, a family member, something happened or something happened at work, and you really are struggling and you can't wait for an appointment. That's the whole purpose of the in the moment support, is that you really can't wait for an appointment, because it is like, 2 business days before we give you the information. So keep that in mind. And again, like I said, that doesn't go towards your 4 sessions, but what the counselor will do at the end of that in the moment support session, they will ask you, would you like to follow up with someone virtually or in person, to continue further along with what we discussed. And it's your choice. You can say, I'm good for right now. This is perfect. I don't need to call back. I will if I need to. Or you can say, yes, I would like to follow up with an appointment. And that's when your 4 sessions would start, if you actually see someone virtually or face to face. So to just keep that in mind, because again, it's an underused service. And I just want to make sure everyone knows about it, so that if you do have something that cannot wait, don't hesitate to call, because we're more than happy and available to assist you with that. Now, we also, looking at the next bullet, we also provide referrals to community-based resources as part of the counseling, because we realize that you live in the real world and the counseling is, with someone one-on-one and for an hour, but you have to go back to your life. And that's where the referrals sometimes to community resources come in handy. For example, you may be referred to support group, an education class, or something you and your child can go to together, or you and your spouse or your sister, whoever it might be. So these resources in the community also work hand in hand with the sessions that you're getting in the counseling. So counseling alone sometimes is not enough. You need to practice those things in the community. You need to actually do something else to help you move along. So that's the purpose of the referrals. And we do provide follow-up at the end of the 4 visits. If you were referred to someone else for something else through your insurance plan, our counselors will be able to continue to assist you. Now, the nice thing about the counselors that Inova has, I'm sure you may or may not know this, some of you may, but Inova is a nationwide EAP, and we have counselors in all the states and countries in Europe and other places. And these counselors contract with us to provide EAP services to our clients. And you're one of our clients. So if you need to have someone, to see beyond that, we can definitely, assist with that. So if the counselors are available because they have their private practice, and if you want to stay with them, you can after the 4 visits, or if you'd like to see someone else through your insurance plan, that counselor has a responsibility to help you get to the next step, whether you continue on with them. Now, these would be considered for long-term things, anything that cannot be resolved within 4 visits. Sometimes depression may linger for longer than that. If someone has substance abuse issues or anxiety, all these types of things, again, like I said, we're here to resolve issues, but if it can't be resolved in the number of sessions, which is 4, then you have that option to stay with that counselor if they're on your plan. And they may be, because again, they have their own practice, but they have to set aside a certain amount of hours to work with Inova people, and our clients. So therefore, they may be on your insurance plan. It's always good to check. But if not, then they will help you get to someone. That is their responsibility, to help you get to someone who is on your plan, if indeed you do need long-term help and follow-up. So that's very, very important. You're not going to be just left on your own to figure out what the next step is. That counselor, he or she, will assist you in locating someone to help you continue on, if that is what is necessary at that point. So keep that in mind. Next slide, please. Now, let's look at some of these typical concerns. This is just a short sample list of some of the things. Again, like I said, there's really no reason you could not come into ANOVA to see one of our counselors. Relationships, stress management. The number one, as you can imagine, is stress, and emotional health and well-being are a close second. And relationships fall into the third category, because of what, even before the pandemic, it had always been stress. I think if anyone can find a cure for stress, they definitely will be a millionaire. And health and wellness is definitely, since the pandemic has, since 2020, and even maybe a little bit before then, but it's really become more popular for people to come in and see someone for those issues. But it could also be child or family concerns. It could be job related. And even though, you work for the school system, it would still be confidential. Our counselors would not share any information with anyone there, HR or no one, about what you're calling about or what you're coming in about. It's definitely something that would remain between you and the counselor. And as we can imagine, sometimes substance abuse issues may not be resolved. If they've been going on for a long time, for a few years, it's really impossible for a counselor to help you get over that in up to 4 sessions. So, just by the nature of what it is, you would need to continue on. But again, this is just a sample. There's really no reason that you could not come into ANOVA for counseling. And our counselors, we have a wide variety, because we are, like I said, nationwide. We have male counselors, female. We have counselors that work in the evenings. We have counselors that work on Saturdays. We have counselors that have all different specialties. We have Christian counselors. We have counselors who speak different languages. So, we do our best to try to make you comfortable by having all these different varieties to meet your needs. So when you're calling in, just let the counselor on the phone know, I'd like to see a Christian counselor. I'd like to see someone who works with LGBT individuals, or someone who works with children, or someone who works on the weekends or Saturdays. So you can kind of customize that with them, and they will only look for people, that you have expressed that you'd like to meet with, in order to get your needs met. Because we realize it's hard enough for people to call in for counseling, and if you get matched with the wrong person, that's not going to serve you in any positive way. So therefore, our goal is to have you make a good match with someone that you feel comfortable talking to, that you can open up to and share your concerns in a confidential setting. That's important too, confidential setting, and be able to help make a change for the better in your life. So keep that in mind. Next slide, please. Now let's look at the work-life benefits. This is the second category that we saw, on the beginning slide. This is also very important. And quite frankly, some people, myself included, I love the work-life benefits. It has something for everyone. And to us, it doesn't matter what service you're using, as long as you're using the service. You may not, some people may not never use the counselor, but you may want to use some of the work-life benefits, which we're going to go into. So if you look at here, these are some of the areas that we're going to talk about. So let's look at the next slide, which goes into these work-life benefits that we have. The first one is childcare resources and referral, which is important. Some of you may have young children, or you may be grandparents taking care of children, or about to have children. So this is a resource and referral service that we have. And I think it's something very, very comprehensive and helpful to you if any of these things that are listed here, something that you're looking for. Of course, we know summer's over now, so the summer camps, but we did provide that for a lot of parents and caregivers over the summer. Now, this is based on your income, because people ask me, oh, this is great. Is ANOVA going to pay for my child to go to the daycare center? Well, unfortunately, no, we're not. We're going to be able to do that, but we will be able to help you based upon what you want to pay, be able to locate someone within that price range. Now, what I mean by that is, okay, with the daycare centers, I'm not sure, my children are older now, so they're not in daycare, but back then it was like maybe $350 a week. It's probably more than that now, but you let the counselor know on the phone, the child care consultant who is the counselor, let them know, I'm looking for something in the Upper Marlboro area for daycare. I have about $375 a week that I want to pay, something close to my home, and this is my zip code. And and tell them as much information so they can make that match. Again, it's about us making a good match. So, when people ask, well, what is the discount, or Nova will pay? I always tell them that the discount is whatever you say. If you say that you have 350 and that's what or if you say you have $300 for that and that's all you want to pay, that's your discount. You could ask for discounts to the consultant and say they can look for places that do have other discounts. But I always use the saying that if it's something that, what do you consider the discount for you to be? And that's what you tell the consultant. So if you're looking for to adopt a child, you're looking for same day backup childcare. Oftentimes, that I think that's a service that parents and caretakers like, because if the child is sick that morning and you have a meeting or you have to do something at work and you can't really miss the day, give us a call early enough in the morning and we will find daycare for that day for your child. It may be like $80 a day, $70 a day, and give us a call early enough so that we have time. If you have to be to work at 8:30, please don't call us at 7:30. We need a little bit more time than that. Just as soon as you wake up and you realize that your child is not well and they're not able to go to their regular daycare or school or whatever the case may be, we will, call us right away so we can start working on it and we can provide that. I bet you didn't know we do that, but we do a lot of things. And also, backup, childcare, nannies, lactation support, all these types of things. Tutors, which, if your child needs a tutor, I used the tutoring program years ago. My son was struggling with algebra and I found a tutor. And, just to give you an example, what I said is like, my son is 12. He needs a tutor on Saturday. He needs a female tutor because he learns better with women. And I want to pay $35 every Saturday until he improves and, gets a B in class or something like that, I said. So, just give them some information. So, when I told them I live in Sterling and I need someone close because I don't want to drive to Tyson's or wherever, just let them know your specifics about what you're looking for and they will find that for you. So, and again, you'll be speaking to someone who's professional, a child care specialist. I think that's very, very important. Next slide, please. Elder care resources, very important. If you have elderly loved ones that you're concerned about, make sure you look at this list here. Nursing homes, assisted livings, you get to speak to a geriatric specialist who can assist you with that. More than happy to help you, because these are the situations where you may not know what you need to even know. If it's hospice, Meals on Wheels. And again, it will be driven by either your income or your elderly loved ones' income. And these are individuals who have worked in nursing homes, who are doctors, who have been in the geriatric area and field for many, many years. So we want to make sure that you know that this is available, and it's again 24/7, and it covers every state. So your loved ones don't even have to live in the area; they could live in California, Texas, or anywhere like that. So it's very important to keep that in mind. Next slide, please. Education, look at this. This is wonderful. Technical schools, adult education classes, again, tutors. This could be for your child or it could be for you if you're trying to go back to school, get some information and figure out what I want to take. Am I going to go for my master's? Am I going to my bachelor's or PhD or whatever it might be? I'm just going to go to a trade school. Or like I said, it could be for your child. Maybe they're graduating this year, going to be a senior in 2023, and they're trying to find scholarships, financial aid, or specific colleges that have certain degrees. Give us a call. We're happy to help. Next slide, please. Health and wellness is a wonderful thing. Look at this. Fitness equipment, nutritionists, aerobics. If you're looking for, those fancy Peloton bikes, maybe we can find you one at a discount. Personal coaches, classes, all types of things, because this has always been a part of ANOVA, health and wellness. And because, we want your body to be healthy, we want your mind to be healthy and well. So give us a call if you're looking for anything like this. You're trying to maybe change your diet and maybe you just got diagnosed with diabetes and you need to change your eating habits. Give us a call. We can help you speak to a nutritionist and they can help you figure out some good food to eat and maybe some tasty meals that, will help you stay on track with that. So keep us in mind for this as well. Next slide, please. Daily living, my favorite part. I love daily living. They have a lot of wonderful resources, pet sitters, I've used that, travel information, wedding planners, Lady told me at a health fair years ago when we did health fairs in person, oh, my daughter's getting married. I need a wedding planner. I need a caterer. I need someone to play the piano at her reception. I said, well, okay, here, call our number 24 hours, 7 days a week. Plumbers, if you're looking for sporting events in the area, maybe your child always has wanted to go to see the Commanders football game, we can help you find tickets. Again, these type of services are driven by your cost, however much you feel you want to pay. Plumbers, home helpers, all those types of things. So it's much, much more. Anything that you can think of, we can assist you with. Next slide, please. Legal and financial support, very, very important. Now, this has always been a staple. Years ago, when EAPs first started, it was always counseling, legal, and financial. And pretty much those were the three things. But over the years, ANOVA and all other EAPs have joined in with all these other services and, to make it holistic. But this is a staple. And what you can get is 30 minutes with an attorney in person or face-to-face. The 30 minutes is free, the consultations are free, and you only pay the attorney if you retain them in some way, and then you receive a 25% discount off of their hourly rate. So if you get your will done and they charge $100, you only have to pay $75, which I think is important. You can ask a lot of questions in 30 minutes if you need to. So keep that in mind. If you write everything down, I tell people to write it down so you don't forget. And if you get what you need, you don't pay anything at all. If you do need the attorney to help you, then of course you can get their service at a 25% discount. Look at some of these things that they cover: family law, bankruptcy, adoption. They can represent you in court if you need criminal assistance, anything. Anything is covered except for, if you see that exclusion there, anything related to your employer, which is Prince George's County Public Schools, any type of class action lawsuit or taxes. So outside of those exclusions, you can call and get the service. And the same thing is like with the counseling. You can call every day for a different legal issue if you need that. Hopefully you won't need an attorney every day, but if you do, please give us a call, and you can get that same 30-minute consultation as long as it is something different and not what you called about the day before. And again, you get what your questions answered, and then you go on your merry way and do what the attorney suggested so that you can resolve your situation. Next slide, please. This is just an overview. This is our name for it. We call it legal assist, but just look at it here. It's all 50 states, like I said. The attorneys can't refer to themselves and in person or telephonic now. They're getting back, just like with the counseling, these attorneys are getting back to in person. So, if you want to go to Texas to have an in-person consultation, that's fine. If you want to do that over the phone, maybe you're going to be there for the weekend and you let the consultant know that you're going to be down there and you would like an in-person in Texas, but it is covered in all 50 states. And we have a lot of legal forms on our website. Next slide, please. Financial services, this is over the phone only, so it's a little bit different from the counseling and the legal service. They only do over the phone, and we use consumer credit for this service. Consumer credit, I'm sure all of you have heard of that. They help with debt management, all these things listed here, credit reports, all types of things, and they have a couple of exclusions. They don't do your taxes, and they don't give advice, financial advice as far as things like investing and that type of thing, but they will help you with bankruptcy, all these things, and many, many more. So they also have evenings and Saturday hours. So you talk to the consultant, let them know what would work for you. Next slide, please. Financial assist. See, we have a little theme going here. This is what we call, it's kind of catchy, like legal assist, so we call it financial assist. And it's the same service. This is just our way of putting a name to it. Pretty much the same. The advice is pressure free, and they have a wide range of knowledge in different topics because they're trained in that area. So give us a call. And we have financial resources on our website. We have budget sheets, financial calculators, all types of forms there. It's about 50 some forms there, different financial forms that you can look at and print out. They're actually you can use them. If you save it on your desktop and need to print it out for some reason, you can do that too. Next slide, please. ID recovery. This is the program we started right after the situation with, I think it was Target back in 2016, when they were the first ones that went public about having an invasion of their people using the credit cards during Christmas or debit cards. I was one of those victims who used my card during that time. So then we decided to go ahead, and ANOVA decided to go ahead and add this program. You get a 30-minute consultation with an identity recovery specialist, and they will help you. And of course, that's the first, the first time. Then you can talk with them after that. It's not just 30 minutes and then you're done. You get to continue on with them. They will help you get your peace of mind back, because it's no fun being compromised through your credit cards or your social security number or some other form of identification, and someone has purchased items, cars, homes, boats, whatever the case may be, on your card. So we will help you through that process. Hopefully you won't need it, but if you do, we are available to provide that assistance, because I think it's important to get on track. Just share this with your household members as well if they're struggling with identity recovery. Thank you. Next slide, please. The website, hopefully you've been on our website, very, very robust website. We have something that changes every day, news for you. That's kind of what I call it our current events, because it has things that are happening in the world. The wildfires in Oregon. Now we have up there the hurricane that's down in Florida, information, resources, Red Cross, where to find food, where to take your pets, hotels, and not hotels because they're gone, but information on where to go, all types of things that we can assist you with. That's on there. So it's whatever's usually going on in the world. That's why I call it current events, because it just has everything. It sort of revolves. COVID has been up there since 2020, and it still will be. Now this month, October, is the National Domestic Violence Month. There's going to be information on that. We have information on heart health. So check it out. Not only news for you, but the whole website. We send out seminars that are monthly, articles and tip sheets. We have legal documents. Wills are on the website. You can have the attorney do it, or you can use the wills, like 3 different wills on the website that you can use. You just have to get them notarized. You can print it out, type on it. So keep us in mind. Some people say, well, let me just, check out the website before I call. That's perfectly fine. We want you to reach out to us in some form or fashion, whether it's calling or the website or wherever it might be. So we encourage you to do that. Next slide, please. Now, this is iConnect code. If you like apps and you want another app on your phone, the code for Prince George's County Public Schools is 3101. And that will connect you. You follow the information here listed as far as downloading it. And then you will be connected to counselors for resources. Now, these are things like generic things. Anything specific, you would want to call the 800 number and speak to our counselor. So if you're looking for childcare specifically in a zip code area, and you have other things that you need to have included in that, call the 800 number and get it through that. Or if you want to use the iConnect, if you're just looking for, say, daycares, centers in Bowie, but nothing specific. So that's the difference between that. Now, we wouldn't recommend you use counseling through the app, because you really can't use counseling through the app, because we need to talk with you. But you can find counselors in your area. Now keep in mind, though, if you find counselors in your area, unless you call first and speak to our counselors, it would not be covered through ANOVA, because I've had that happen. People will find something and then say, oh, I saw this counselor already for like 4 visits. And then, of course, this person is not in our network. Then, unfortunately, you're stuck. So remember, with the app, it's just for you to peruse and not try to, something like that you need to call us. Anything that you get from us, you would need to call us first. So that's the only thing I would just want to recommend with the app. But it's very, very, it's very, very useful and handy if you're just looking for generic things. So, check that out, too, if you're interested. Next slide, please. Mindfulness, wonderful program we have. You get 6 telephonic sessions with a mindfulness coach. Now, this is different from the actual mental health counseling. This is mindfulness, helping you, relax, reduce your anxiety. You might get something like the counselor may recommend yoga, meditation, deep breathing. Those are the things you get from mindfulness, learning how to relax in the moment. This is very, very important, and not only because of the last few years we've been in, but forever. This is very, very important for you to get that, because things happen sometimes, and we need to be able to not be distracted sometimes by our surroundings, and establish, some well-being and some mindfulness that can help us heal, because we can't always run to the phone and call a counselor, or run to the phone. We need to be able to do something that we can do right there. So that might be deep breathing, going to your car, walking around, getting some fresh air, listening to soft music. You and the mindfulness coach will work that out. And you get 6 free telephonic sessions with a mindfulness coach. They last about 45 minutes each. The only thing we ask is that if you're going to use the mindfulness finish those 6 sessions out before you do the 4 sessions of counseling. It's not recommended that you do them both at the time. Now, I will say that they complement each other. Absolutely, they complement each other. We just ask that you do one first. So if you start with the mindfulness, and people might say they might start with this because it sounds a little, less threatening than counseling. So if that's how you feel, absolutely do that. And the coach may say, well, we finished these sessions. Give us a call back to the 800 number and get some counseling, mental health counseling. So they go hand in hand, but we just recommend that you don't do them at the same time. Very, very wonderful program. Next slide, please. Now, this is our last slide, and this has our 800 number on it. Again, like I said, we're 24 hours, 7 days a week, which I think is very, very important. And the website is inova.org/EAP for all the great things that we have there. Again, like I said, you can spend hours on the website just looking at all the things we have, the webinars, the recipes, the legal forms, the financial forms, the news for you section, all types of things, articles, health articles. I can go on and on about that, but I won't. But just so that you know, it is available to you. And your username password is PGCPS. Lowercase. Now, this is for everybody, and it's not because people say, well, what is my individual username? No, it's for everyone, and that keeps it confidential. So PGCPS, everyone uses that, all of your employees and your household members, and the password is Prince, PRINC, lowercase. So keep that in mind, because everything we do, we protect your confidentiality. But so if you're looking at it, no one will know it's you because everybody has the same username and password. And we encourage you to do that. So, I want to thank you all for your time this afternoon, listening to me talk about the service. I could go on and on, but I'm limited to a certain amount of time. So I wanted to stay within that window. So I appreciate that. And now I'm happy to entertain questions that you might have. Any
Thank you so
questions?
much. Yeah, thank you so much, Cheryl. I'm going to just let folks know.
Okay.
Certainly, we want to take any questions you may have. If you feel more comfortable putting in the chat, you can do that and I'll read them, or you can come off mute and ask Cheryl. I just want to let everyone know that if you have any personal questions about any personal related stresses or information or issues going on, we would direct you to the 800 number to speak to a counselor privately, since we are recording this session. But if you have any general questions about the benefit, please feel free to either come off mute or put your questions in the chat. And we'll wait a few minutes for folks to do that. While we're waiting, I'm going to put a few links in the chat for folks to have.
Okay, great.